All right.
Because this nigga is not gonna be able to give me an actual win con for fucking iguro, and it's insane. All the
iguro versus who?
Kokushibo. Like this is not. It's not even like funny, bro. This is just. It's gonna be one sided.
All right. So the recording is actually staying in here, and Shinra's not doing the shit.
I don't see Shinra doing it right now. At least
again,
Shinra's not doing it right now. At least, so I guess we got to restart from the recording, bro. Because this nigga just fucked everything up. So the initial question I asked you is, what win con does iguro have against Kokushibo, and what can he do against his blood demon art infused attacks?
Yeah, I said basically he's like he would be fast enough to dodge them, and also because like he could scale to Muzan, and also like the drug Muzan shit where like we see how where like
this is a very boring debate. We also like kind of just on it.
We had a reset.
It involves Royal, and he's trying
Bro,
to
we had to reset because this nigga fucked the recording up.
All right, so
that's not our fault.
Basically, Iguro's fast enough to dodge Kokushibo's BDA.
Okay, so what's your basis for that?
Okay, he basically scales to an early Muzan in like the beginning of the fight, and this is like, and also this is base Iguro. Like he consistently like dodges, being able to land a hit on him with his sword, and then what's it called? He unlocks Market See-Through World earlier on, so this would just mean that a Mark See-Through World Iguro would massively outscale this version of Muzan, which would be about.
So when you say early iguro, are you referencing the same iguro that Mitsuri was calling basically weak in compared to Gyome?
Mitsuri never said Iguro was weak in comparison.
No, I said no. She was like, I wish Gyome was here and this and that.
So
he was basically implying that they're weaker than Gyome.
Yeah, I don't.
You're aware of that, right?
Work because even Gyome wanted more people, like random slayers, like Inosuke, etc. Like he wanted more people to be there. Like they all believed more.
Royal. What relevance does that have to what I just said about Mitsuri saying that?
Like Mitsuri would want, obviously she'd want more people there, and she knows Gyome is the strongest, like outside of the people there, like because like the only other options would be like Sodomy, random slayers, and Gyome. So obviously, if she wants more help, she would want it from the strong. He knows. So.
Okay. So the context behind the statement is that Iguro and Gyu were getting pressed by Muzan, so that wouldn't be true. It would just be that they need more help because they'll need more help because the fact that Iguro and Gyu themselves can't do anything against Muzan because obviously they don't have any winning factors or any any type of scaling that can actually help them in order to beat Muzan. So it's just like, okay, well, I would need somebody stronger than both of them, aka Gyome, who can help and actually change the situation of fight and make it so that we're the ones overpowering Muzan now. That's how I see it. That's what makes the most sense to contextually.
All right. So first, can you send like this, like the context? Because I don't think, because like when she said that statement, I'm pretty sure that was in the Infinity Castle, and I don't remember Iguro and Gyu ever getting overwhelmed at that point. And also, as I was trying to like basically what I was saying, I'm saying she would actually first you send the because I want to see if you
yeah, let me look for the scan real quick.
Overpowered.
This is insane. Both of them didn't even pay attention to each other's arguments. How the hell?
I was paying attention. What are you talking about?
Nah.
You're just
both like strong man each other. I've never seen this.
Nigga, nobody got strong man. What?
Yeah.
I'll explain later, bro. We can VC after this.
Bro, what the hell?
I mean, nigga, I'm baked as fuck anyway, so I don't care, nigga. Fuck that. Let me look for the damn scan.
What's the best Demon Slayer? I'm at the second
Bro,
best Demon Slayer.
I know you have the scan. You're a dork, nigga. Get that scan when Mitsuri talks about fucking Iguro and Gyu, and it was like, I wish Gyome was here.
You have to pay $5 for it, bitch.
You just get it from me, please.
Since you said please, you asked nicely.
Nigga, I just said get it for me, please.
Yeah, no, you asked nicely.
Okay, are you getting it?
Find it if what's it called? Because let me just find it real quick because I could probably find the context.
You can't find it. You're a D tier warrior.
Tone versus C is going on. That's gross.
Who versus C?
Tom wins. Send in
Ew.
the scan, Tensei. Send in the
Major
scan.
B tier debate. Jesus. That's a next level D tier debate right there.
Bro, Tom was the best debater, bro. He beat up Tensei.
Oh, you're right. And he beat Infinity. I forgot about that.
Oh God.
Yeah, I have the context. Literally nothing happened. All that happened was Muzan did like he just got angry and Mitsuri said the others were in danger.
Oh, he got the scan.
Send in the scan.
Yeah, here.
Yo,
Okay, send the scan before and after. All right, get the scan before and after it.
Before? Oh sure.
Before and after it.
All that happens was
what's
like,
going on?
me and Quinn
Oh,
started
me
debating
and
when I
Royal became.
Damn, bro,
Alright, the scan before and the scan after is literally just a Yushiro plan where he says that what's it called? He's gonna get Nakime.
You can't prove that. You can never prove that.
It's what are you talking about? Oh my god, of course it's Tensei. Basically that's nothing happens at all. Like they
It don't
just
matter
stand.
what you download. It don't matter what you download when you stop.
Royal, this argument is so terrible.
I'm
God,
not the
I'm
one.
really the only one that like.
I'm the one making the Gyomei
Oh,
protecting
nothing
argument.
happened, but he's projecting. Wait, nothing happened, but he's projecting force down in the battlefield, and then she makes that statement.
I
And
was fine.
you know that Missouri is able to gauge strength between people.
Hold up.
It's kind of stated between it's stated when what's it called, when they're talking about the amps and shit to the Tundra. She basically is able to gauge the strength of people. Pretty simple.
Wait, hold up. What? What's the relevance of that? I don't
Okay, the
think.
relevance. Look. So I'm saying that she's gauging the attack and the strength of Muzan from that, right? And then she's making a statement. She's like, "Oh, I wish Hajime would get here, and this and that." And then she says, "Well, they're more in danger than I thought." So what I'm saying is that she gauges the attack from Muzan and his strength. She knows the strength of Iguro and Gyu, and she also knows the strength of Gyomei. She perceives Gyomei as a bigger help or someone that can actually lessen a threat compared to Iguro and Gyu alone. So what I'm saying here is that when actually no, I'm not gonna make the point yet. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna wait.
All
I don't
right.
want to
So
stop.
first, I'm gonna address the force argument. I think like the thing that would make more sense there, like the thing that makes the most sense in that context, is just that Mitsuri is scared, and like the force would just like be her being scared of Muzan, because obviously we know Muzan doesn't have like some supernatural ability, and also we know this never happens ever again. It only happens when Mitsuri talks about how like she's really scared. So I think this force is just like in
Natural ability.
being
Wait. So
scared.
then why? Okay, let me ask you a question then. Why does it say strum on top of it? That would imply that there's some type of something going on right there, right? Would it
Oh,
not?
that's just Nakime moving the Infinity Castle.
That's
There's no
who?
force going on. That's just Nakime moving the Infinity Castle. But the force is just in reference to her like not being able to attack Muzan because she's scared. And the other argument about Himejima, the way I interpret it, so there's two things. First off, like that's you could just want Himejima there for more people, because we know when there's more people attacking Muzan, it's easier for them to do stuff. And because like only three people, we already know Muzan doesn't believe three Hashir only would be able to do anything versus him due to region. So having an extra person would help. And I don't even think this would even like prove you and stronger, because based off of feats, even when Yuri arrives, like we see that he gets overpowered by Muzan as well. He's not like a lot of help because he literally says he can't even get a attack. And also, we know at that time, Iguro, Sanemi, and Gyu, or I wouldn't really say Gyu. He doesn't really, of course, but Iguro and Sanemi, they're able to move on. Like we see Iguro cuts off his arm. We see like do a lot of stuff versus Muzan, while Gyomei just says like he's overpowered by him. So based off of feats, we already know this wouldn't really prove anything. And
Yeah,
same with
that's just a position thing now. That's the difference.
what'd you say?
I said that's just a position thing now. The reason why they say that Yome gets overpowered is because of his position in the fight compared to Saname and Gyu. So when they attacked him, you're saying that they have better feats. it's only because of the position that they had. And I'm pretty sure even in that
Oh
scenario,
my
they
god, W
also got
argument.
overwhelmed too.
Oh
Hold
my
up.
god, W argument. I say they have roles in the fight, and it's probabilistic depending on like what role you're playing, but that's also good.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot you do say shit like that, don't you? Nigga, I forgot you even did that shit. I'm just high as fuck, so I'm making arguments on the spot. So yeah, it's a position that Yome plays. I'm pretty sure he plays like a defensive role, kind of
Oh
like.
my god, it's so good. Oh my god, bro.
Yeah,
Bro, what is
does he
your
not
like
though?
single Phoenix? What is your problem?
Am I not like?
Like, this
I don't know.
nigga
I'm not
single
tripping, bro.
Phoenix gets fly off
From
his
what I
Not
know, he's
single
playing
V riding the
defense.
D tier
He's
argument.
playing defense
Up.
pretty much
Oh
the
my
whole
god.
time, and then like Giyu and Sonami and like Igor, they're all sneak attacking Muzan, while we got this nigga playing defense almost the entire time. So
All
like
right.
them having
So
beats, I don't think that matters, nigga, because it's all based on their position that they're in and
yeah,
how they're fighting as a team.
I don't think this applies because first off, even if you want to infer Gyome is at point blank right next to Muzan, Iguro does the exact same thing. He's literally right next to whereas Muzan looking at him, and instead of getting overwhelmed, this is base form too. Instead of getting overwhelmed or anything, he slashes his sword, like he uses his sword and then slashes his arm off. Here, I'll send the scan.
Yo,
Yeah, go
Rory.
ahead.
He
Hey,
takes
I'm
his
about
arm
to.
at point blank.
Let me hop in. I want to tag me in.
Shut up, Single Phoenix. No, you're not getting tagged in. All right, we see base Iguro do this to Muzan while he's poisoned. This is the same Muzan that overwhelmed what's called Gyome and shit. So even if you want to say position and shit, it doesn't matter because
Yeah,
Iguro is
then
much worse position
yeah.
at
This is
point
easy
blank.
counter. I know what you're getting at, and I already understand your argument. But I'm gonna just say this: you know that there's two people attacking him at once, and they're both coming at him at once. So he has to focus on both of them at once. So that would give that nigga Iguro a leeway or an opportunity to actually get an attack in via how they're doing with teamwork. Like that's not hard to understand, right?
Yeah, that doesn't work either because we
How does it
see
not work?
okay, in the scan you're talking about for Gyome, that's not just two people. That's like seven people. He attacked seven people there. The like percentage of like attack that Gyome got, he probably got hit by one whip max. Because there's a lot of other people there, all saying that they're getting overwhelmed.
There is no evidence
So
for that.
if
Yeah, you
there's
don't have. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, you have no way of ever fucking proving that, bro. And then we see that he has multiple splashes on him too, so I don't even think that's true. I think it's implied that he hits all of them multiple times
yeah,
with the variety of his whips. Like it's not. That's like
we see
easily
Musan
known,
attacking all of them at once. Like we see
huh?
this, like we see what's happening. He's obviously not gonna just focus on Gyome when everyone else is saying that they're
Well,
all
no,
getting
I didn't.
overwhelmed.
That's not what was ever argued, though. You're just. I don't know what you're
Yeah, I'm
shadowboxing.
saying what's it called?
All I
That's what
ever
I am
said was just
arguing.
that he has a different position, and he's doing something differently than what Iguro and Sonami and Gyu are doing, because they're working as a team, and they know that Guillaume would be good for defense. So he's on defense in almost the entire time, and I'm saying that even in that same instance, he overpowers Iguro too. I'm pretty sure, and everybody else. And he was like, I can't keep shielding. I can't keep shielding Guillaume. They all got overpowered in that scenario. And I'm saying
Okay.
here, it's a slower Muzan one and a weaker Muzan. Two, there's two niggas coming at Muzan at once. So he has to divert his attention between two people who have a potential to attack him. If that's true, then this would basically give him a downscale in reaction, right? And this would give an opportunity to Igro or Sonami, depending on how Muzan reacts to the situation, an opportunity to strike a blow, which is what I'm
All right.
saying. So I'm saying that this feat doesn't really hold any weight because it's on one, a weaker moves on. Two, it's based upon him having teamwork with somebody else who gives him the opportunity. So it's their added advantage in the situation.
All right. So you said a lot of things there. First, I'll address Iguro getting overwhelmed. He just says he'll be immobile soon, which basically means like he can't move. This is just because of the poison, because we know when Iguro doesn't have the poison in him, like his symptoms are relieved, he like does like completely fine. He doesn't get hit once. Like he's just doing completely fine. So this could just be like in reference to him being poisoned and not, like instead of like him getting overwhelmed by Muzan. For the teamwork thing, what's it called? He's not even looking at Sodomy. Sodomy's on the ground. Like we see he's like Igoro's right in front of him, getting ready to attack him, and he still can't do shit about it. He gets blitzed by him right there. Like even if Sodomy is there, it's not a team effort. Sodomy's on the ground. And even if you want to say that means it's a team effort, the entire Muzan fight, like with the Gyome scan involved, that would still be a team effort. So even if you want to say this was a team effort with Iguro and Sodomy, that would still apply to the Gyome part because they're all fighting him at that point. And finally, about the Gyomei shit, or not the Gyomei shit, the Muzan shit where he's drugged. Uh, I like what's it called? I explained this like before Shinra like did the recording shit. We know how poison works in Demon Slayer, where it goes like where in the beginning it doesn't really do anything until the effects actually apply. Like we see this with Doma twice. When Shinobu hits him with the poison, it goes in. We see the effects. That's the same thing with the other big poison she did, where we saw his eye was falling out and shit like when you fought Kanao and Inosuke. This could just be applied to Muzan as well because we know how the effects work, where he states like how like what's it called, the significance of it, where before he's not even able to notice it while fighting multiple people. So we could just say that what's it called, the drug isn't really affecting Muzan at this time because we know he's overwhelming all these people. Like he's doing like he's actually like overwhelming Gyomei. When we see the drug actually in effect, we see Gyomei is able to easily strike off his torso and all that. So I just think that this poison doesn't really do anything until like we see the significant effect of it.
Okay, so my response is gonna be a bit concise. So one, Dome was breaking down Canal's poison at first. Two, yeah, I'm not Canal, fucking Shinobi, my fault. Two, then I'm pretty sure what the fuck happened again? Didn't she get ate or some shit, and then like he got poisoned from eating her some shit, something along those lines. She had to like have some type of special poison or some type of special drug or some shit like that to actually affect him for him to actually like have his eye fall and shit. So in this scenario with Muzan, they know regular poison shit like that doesn't work. So they used a special made drug in order to actually weaken him, right? So we can't use what's normally seen with poison and Demon Slayer and apply it to a special scenario with someone like Muzan who has a special type of drug specifically for him, right? So that argument wouldn't go through. Secondly, we see that when Iguro attacks, that's when Muzan looks up. So originally he must have been looking at Sanemi when he's on the ground. That's why he got caught off guard when when Iguro came to attack. And to the Gyomei thing, yeah, it can be a team effort there too. But all I was arguing is just that Gyomei is playing on defense while Iguro, Sanemi, Giyu, and them niggas are playing on offense in an instance to where they can get opportunities by attacking him in multiple directions and diverting his attention. So the whole Muzan thing will go back to that. So yeah, that's my point. That's it.
All right. So first about the poison shit, I think you're like misunderstanding my argument. Obviously, it's not the exact same thing, but basically, what I'm saying is we see how we see the consistency and how these effects in Demon Slayer work. So what I'm trying to say, especially since we know Kanao and Shinobu, or not Kanao, Tamayo and Shinobu are making these exact same things, or what's called, they're both the people making them. We know how it's gonna work. So if we see how it like really works in Demon Slayer, and then we see the exact thing for Muzan where he only notices it when the effect is significant, I don't see why we can't just like say that this like effect only really like it only really matters shown like that it's become
Okay.
significant when we
Yeah.
see like I'm not done
You're
yet because
glitching out. You're glitching out, by the way. You're glitching out, by the way.
I'm
But
listening.
I get it, basically understanding your point. So my thing is, I think that this like kind of like inductive argument is kind of just like very weak. It's kind of like a hasty gen. We don't have a big enough data set for these special type of drugs and these special type of poisons made against people in specific for us to even determine that these since it happens here, then it should happen there too. I think that the context is different. That the reason why Muzan doesn't notice is because he's fighting a whole team of Demon Corps members compared to people like Doma, who did actually notice that he got poisoned, but he's able to break it down easily, right? So that whole thing about we see poison work like this usually, and we see that people don't take effect. If we don't see that it takes effect until way later, it doesn't apply to Muzan because Muzan was already getting weaker, and he acknowledged it. Yeah, he does acknowledge it later, but the statement that he says implies that it is working previously as well, and it was already slowing him down. So yeah, he was just getting jumped, and he couldn't obviously concentrate on whether or not he's getting weaker or not. He had to concentrate on everybody coming at him at once and trying to fight him and trying to destroy him. So yeah, that's just what it is.
All right. So first off, when you're talking about the same, and I'm referring, like, I'm assuming you're talking about like where he says I should have noticed my hair return to its previous color. Is that what you're
That
talking
one
about?
and the statement where he's like, I've aged 9,000 years, and the one where he's like, what's it called? I'm getting slower and this and that, and that's these Hashira or whatever, these people are able to hit me, and I
All
should have
right.
been defeated them, all of those.
So first, the statement you're talking about, he says he struggled, like he like that. He said that's why I struggled with the Hashira. That part, like I'm saying, that's referring to when what's it called? When Guillaume had Red Blade and like everyone was able to land hits on him because at that point the poison was actually having a significant effect. And what's it called? With the hair color shit, that could just be in reference to like the drug itself instead of the effect, where you should have noticed that there was something wrong with him when his hair wasn't returning back to like the black color, rather than it being like an effect from the drug. That could just be in reference to like, or like what's it called? Just the drug itself, because like outside of just like aging itself, because he's still like diverting a certain
We
amount of.
have wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. If you're gonna propose that interpretation, do we have any type of indicators that could suggest that? Compared to
List.
my interpretation that has literally like the scan itself and what actually happened as substance, does your interpretation have any type of like indicators, implications?
Speed him up. Literally, like, flop him up, Quintz, speed him up.
Like you, like, I can understand that you're trying to propose like these hypothetical scenarios, which could be the case, which is fine, but they don't hold any type of basis without any type of evidence. If I don't any type of indicators for this interpretation, I'm just gonna dismiss it.
Yeah, my basis for this is like we see in the Muzan fight where what's it called? He's able to easily overpower them, and then later on, he gets overwhelmed by them. Even though these slayers, all they're doing is getting more poisoned. All they're doing is getting more weaker. Like they're not changing in any
Wait,
way. So
do
there's
you
no
know why
reason.
he was able to overpower them at that one
Uh,
point?
why is he able to overpower them?
Why you okay? So you're aware that skill can compensate for the lack of physical capabilities in a person.
What do you mean?
Don't
In somebody's arsenal can substitute for a lack of physical power.
Shinobu.
Oh, I'm saying that if a person is skilled, their skill can make up for the lack of physicality they have. So let's just say a boxer, what's it called? A boxer who kind of retired, he got fat, gets into a street fight with a fit dude. I can say that for his lack of physicality, because he doesn't have the same physicality that he had back when he was a boxer, I could say that due to his boxing skill in this street fight, he might have the higher chance of winning because he can compensate that lack of physicality with his boxing skill and how he knows how to maneuver against combat, right? So I'm saying that and also somebody's arsenal can make up for the lack of physicality. So, for example, if I'm a police officer and I have a fucking gun, but I'm not physically, I'm a disabled cop. I'm gonna use my gun and use shit in my arsenal that would compensate for my lack of physical ability. So, what I'm trying to get at here is that Muzan, what he does is he uses his whips, which has less mass than like himself, and he uses all these multiple whips that he has, and he's attacking them on the Hashira, overpowering them because whips are fast, right? When a human picks up a whip and we whip a fucking slave, the whip goes fast and usually not always visible to the eye. So it makes sense that they would get overpowered by a compensation of physicality due to the whips.
Yeah, this doesn't change. Like
what is wrong with you?
he only has whips. Even when he gets overpowered, he still has those whips. So even with that argument, that doesn't change the fact that he always has his whips. So either way, like that's
I would just argue that he got weaker because in the whips to get weaker with him. All right, I said that they can make up for it, but if it gets down to a certain point, there will be a time.
All right, yeah. So it's just the exact same thing I was saying. That's the time where he actually, like, the effects actually started to do shit to him, and where he actually got like weaker. Like that's where he was struggling with them. That doesn't really change anything. That just goes along with what I was saying. Hello. Am I like glitching or some shit? Like,
No, we sadly hear you.
No, he cut out or went AFK or something.
oh,
Okay.
Quince. Did he leave? No, he
Oh,
didn't.
y'all kept shotgunning each other back to back so many times, bro.
Yeah, I
Argument.
know. Like there was 3 arguments.
Arguments be lame as
Oh my god, I
hell.
can't lie.
Ain't nobody trying to keep up with all that, boy.
What were the other 2 points? Like about iguro and Guillaume? What was his response to that? Because I'm gonna have to go back to the recording and see that shit
Like I
after this.
said, nobody want to listen to the shotgun debate, boy.
Good shit, Quintz. Beat him up.
What, bro, you're supposed to be on my side, Clicks. Dude, what the hell?
Yeah, Click sucks.
Royal.
He's like almost worse than Royal.
Up 10,
Come
so
on,
you
Clicks.
lost
You're supposed to be on my side, bro. Like
I
what?
lost to you now.
Rakuda.
Show me judgment, bro.
Show me judgment. Okay, sure. Give me a second.
Clicks, so I can't believe you're not on my side on this, bro. What the hell?
Royal K. Royal K.
Why? Quince?
Royal K.
Single Phoenix, please tell me you're on my side here. Single Phoenix? Bro, do I not have a single supporter? What the hell?
Bro's a D tier.
Who the fuck are you, Tensei? Black ass bitch.
Your father.
Oh.
The niggas, no one's funny.
Click, you suck, bro.
Anyways, like in general. What you
Bro,
said,
Sensei
nigga.
lost to
Stop talking to me.
Turkey.
Imagine losing to Rakuda. Imagine losing to Rakuda with Yome. Would never be me.
I don't remember what the topic was. You send it where now? Oh, Mercury wasn't even a judge, bro. Everybody clowned him after that. That was funny.
Then no one was a judge.
Yeah, I know
Did
that was
y'all
it
even
was a trick question, you retard. Nobody was a judge because we never debated.
did y'all even judge?
We just did polls and I won the polls. That's it.
No one gives a fuck about polls. What?
That's exactly what I said. There wasn't a debate, and the only thing we did was polls, which I won. So, plus, bro, I
Yeah,
think there
you
was
can
like
prove
I
that.
think 3 people had called Mercury up after that because everybody was kept saying he was retarded, and he wouldn't even mic up either.
What server was that though? Because like
I think it was here.
Everybody
Wait,
wants
wait,
to
wait,
do
wait,
this yesterday.
wait, Royal, where do you think it was at? Nick, the fuck?
But Clicks, you're
literally
really not on my side here. Like, what the hell? I thought like, what's it called?
Be quiet, boy. I don't want to hear you talk. Yeah, be quiet, son. You better be quiet.
Shut
Boy,
up.
you suck. Single. Do you think you would solo this debate right now?
So I think I what?
You're
Would
black.
solo this debate right now?
Solo it? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Yeah.
W.
And I have like, well,
The fuck?
Quiz's argument isn't even that bad, like at all. But like,
You're black.
Royal's argument is so bad, bro.
All right, I'm
I
back.
know because
So,
Royal sucks.
Right,
what
Clicks,
I
that's
was
what's it
saying,
called?
is that
Really moaning. His argument's so bad.
all right. Let me get to the argument. So what I'm saying now is that physical prowess, even though your arsenal can compensate.
Bro needs a new cable provider. What the hell?
I think I know what his argument is, and anyway, I don't think it matters because Muzan
Royal,
goes
you
from
said
overpowering them with his whips to not overpowering them and getting massively overpowered by them. So
wait
I don't
till
really
Royal
see
figures out
that
that
this
he could have won
matters.
this point. He could have won this point in like 5 minutes into the debate.
Okay, she got off the phone. Okay, she's gonna call back in a second, so I'm gonna try to hurry up and make this argument. So, as I said previously, an arsenal or skill can make up for your lack of physicality. But if that lack of physicality is too much of a burden, that compensation will go away, right? So when you have in this scenario, I would just argue that at that point in time, due to the fact that he's still aging like 50 years per minute, I would just argue due to that. At that point in time, he was able to overwhelm them, but later on, because he's constantly aging, constantly getting weaker, then he obviously would just lose that compensation at that point. So yeah,
But
that's
how do you think chapters are?
huh?
How much in time do you think 2 chapters are?
I don't know. It could be like 20 minutes. 20 minutes. It could be like 10 minutes. It doesn't. I don't think it really matters. I think that it's still just. I think the argument will still be true because he's still aging. He's still getting weaker regardless.
Okay, so why in like a short amount of time would Muzan go from perception blitzing them to getting overwhelmed by them? Like
Okay,
why?
so if he,
Because
all
if
right,
this
like I
hold on,
said,
hold on, hold on,
the
hold on, hold
previous
on.
argument kind of proved that. Like I don't know if you didn't get that, but then you also take into account the fact that he has like 6 or 7 niggas trying to fight him at once. So
Yeah, I
all of his
think this just helps
attention
it.
has to be focused on everybody to make sure he doesn't get attacked, and he has to focus on attacking as well. He has a
Yeah,
lot
Quintz, I
going
think
on.
this is
So yeah, it doesn't. I don't think that a time frame really matters, but it's just more of he's getting weaker, getting slower, and the threat is getting basically is winning over. Right, the threat is basically losing, and the opposer is becoming a threat. If that makes sense. So yeah, he would go for perception blitzing. I mean, I don't even think it's a perception blitz. I think it's just that they perceived it, but they just weren't fast enough to react. I don't think it was a perception blitz at all. But yeah, they went from getting overwhelmed to pressing him because of him getting weaker.
all right. So I think this just like helps like more prove my argument that this significant effect comes like later on because what you're saying is like he actually started to get significantly affected like when what's it called at that time unless you're just arguing like in this short amount of time he actually was able to go from overwhelming them to not overwhelming them, but even then I still don't think that would work because like we see like these like for example Mitsuri or well actually Mitsuri wasn't fighting later on but like Yome, he said he couldn't get a feel for his attacks and all of them like in this
Yeah,
one
but that
time. Yeah,
I know you said this argument earlier. So
yeah.
my response to this really would just be that you're aware that all of them, pretty much all of them, just came from fighting like an upper moon, right? So you aware that they have like post battle injuries and like damage done to them. So it'd be harder for them to like actually get get some attacks through sometimes, and hence why they're doing teamwork.
Yeah, so what I was gonna say after was later on they're not gonna get stronger, all gonna get weaker, the exception of Igor because of his mark. So all of them later on are just weaker versions of themselves because they're all what's called more fatigued, more injured, more poison, all of that. So based off of that,
No, I think Igor also got weaker as well.
all right,
Like when as soon as he got Red Blade, he passed out, and then I'm pretty sure like shortly after that he got up and he did like 2 attacks, and then I don't think he can use Red Blade past that point. I don't remember though like specifically, but I know that he didn't get like a huge amp. And yeah, they can be weaker, but Muzan is progressing at a rate that's gonna make him weaker than them. So they can be
okay,
getting weaker. They don't have to be getting stronger. If the opponent is getting weaker than how they're getting weak, like for example, a fucking rabbit and a tortoise. They're the tortoise situation. There's a rabbit in a race. Like the rabbit's obviously gonna outpace or get weaker than the turtle would. Like it's not hard to understand. So yeah,
yeah,
that would be
I
the response.
understand what you're saying. But what I was gonna say was we see like in the Muzan fight where he's able to fight Gyu, Yome, or not it's not like Yome, Gyu, that's fucking stop it. Gyu, Mitsuri, and Obanai, right? And he's able to fight them for a while, and we see he never like gets actually like overwhelmed by them. Like even
Yeah,
though
that could be due to them being weaker, which is fine in that scenario.
basically we see the drug in that short amount of time, he's not getting like weaker at all. You could even argue like he's getting stronger, like in the City Castle, like what's it called? He basically doesn't really keep up with them that much. And then outside, he's able to like overwhelm them. He never gets like bigger. He just even though they're fighting for like 20 minutes, and they're shown to be able to keep up with him and dodge
You
his
wouldn't
attack.
be able to gauge that to be 20 minutes, bro. That's the problem. It could have been. I don't
But
think fights last 20 minutes long like that.
I mean, I think we could because like if I remember correctly, there's like crows that say the amount of time. I'd have to find the
You
crow.
can
Like
you can try and see there's a crow in that scenario. I don't think there is.
there is
The only
okay.
time, the only time
So
we get, the only time we get time references is when Muzan speaks upon how weak he's gotten, and he talks about how the drug kicked in a few hours ago and this and that. That's the only time frame we ever see in the Muzan fight. So for you to make absurd claims like, "Oh, they're fighting this nigga for 20 minutes and then this and that," that doesn't make sense because we have nothing that can actually indicate that.
yeah, you're right. It's actually much less than 20 minutes because what's it called? First off, I'm gonna send this indicator right here. This is at the beginning where Obanai, Gyu, and Mitsuri are fighting him. It's Dawn is in 1.5 hours. Let me find the scan. What's it called? Where's the next time where it says Dawn is gonna be? Because I know it says like
All right,
one.
yep. What's it called? She just hung up again, so I'm cool. Hold up. Let me add her to this fucking thing.
Hold on, I'm gonna find the next one where it says how many hours is left till dawn. Because I know it says like 1 hour or something like 1 hour and 6 minutes. I was gonna find it real quick.
Yeah, but then you would have to get two different time. You have to get two different time quantifiers to even like scale the time that with the fight. So even if you get this one, you need another one to help justify it.
All right. Let me just find it real quick. Hold up, I just realized what's it called? You know how the drug was been in effect for like 3 hours at least, right?
You said what?
You know how the drug has been in effect for 3 hours at least, right? Like it's verbatim stated by Muzan.
Yeah, I said that's the only time quantifier we have, and we can't quantify anything previously before that, really.
All
Because we got
right,
two time
so
quantifiers.
this entire fight was like between. Hold up, what the fuck?
Bro, if you're gonna
Uh,
try to subdue it from like, oh, he said it at this chapter and then they start finding her in this chapter, that's not gonna work because you have to get a time quantifier in between each chapter, and you can't prove to me that whatever type of time quantifier you get would even be accurate to the series. So that whole whatever you're trying to do right now, I don't think that'll work.
basically, what I'm trying to say is, so in 30 minutes, you're saying even if we assume like what's it called? So in 30 minutes, this like that's like the entire fight. So the effect for it to be like 30 minutes, if we're assuming it's not where it's like what's it called? Where it's not like the significant effect only happens after. That would mean in 2 hours and 30 minutes, Muzan would be massively weakened. So by that, if it was like a mass at that point.
Wait, what'd you say?
I just said your name.
Yeah, I just told you, bro. I just told you, Royal, that you can't make assumptions and we can't really do anything without two different time quantifiers. Have we had somebody mention a time previously before Muzan talks about how long the drug's been in effect? I'm pretty sure the drug has been in effect long before he even fought, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, if you're going to use that and then try to say, oh, well, we can assume that 30 minutes is, that doesn't make sense because we don't normally see people fight for 30 minutes. Whether it's in fiction or whether it's in like IRL, we never really see anybody fight for 30 minutes. So making that like some type of standard assumption wouldn't make sense. A standard assumption for a fight at the most is like 8 minutes.
Hello?
That's at least that's what I'm like, that's what I'm thinking at least. That makes the most sense.
It's
So
definitely
this
out late. It's
so
definitely
that's
like
this whole time argument is just flawed because you're missing variables necessary to make an actual coherent equation with it. Your
you'd have
equation
to
is
say
like,
that
I
thing
don't, can you even
is
put your shit in the equation? Can you even put your like your whole like thing in a time formula or anything of that sort? Like there's just too many flaws with that, bro. You might as well drop the whole point.
Okay, so for this thing, what I was saying before was basically, so what you're arguing is that Muzan would have a very significant effect, and like, let's just highball it and say 30 minutes, since that was like the entire Hasha's fight. So you're saying Muzan would have a significant effect in 30 minutes, where he notices that he's significantly weakened. But we know he says he's been drugged for 2 hours and 30 minutes. And at that point, he doesn't even like see a significant effect. Like he doesn't even know he's drugged at that point, even though it's been active for 2 hours and 30 minutes, where he would have like where it because if it makes him like massively weaker in 30 minutes, in two
Wait,
hours and
no,
30
he
minutes,
did
he's
know
gonna be
because
exhausted.
wait, hold on. How does he not know about being drugged? But he literally did he not have a flashback where he literally talked about how he took it or something like that? I could have swore that happened. And two, how would you be able to gauge something that how long something been in your body if you didn't know it was in there? You wouldn't be able to gauge that. That wouldn't make sense unless you're trying to assert that Muzan has some type of like supernatural, super sensual ability that can let him gauge how long things have been in his body, which I don't think you can prove. Then this whole argument is just redundant.
Quintz, let me just clarify.
All
During
right,
the
so
we know
like,
Roy.
I
What the
checked.
fuck? No,
Okay, so what I say,
let me
what?
clarify. Obviously, he doesn't get what you're saying. I'm just trying to actually people the fight. Quince, during the fight, right? It was against 13 for Tanjiro when he was like, oh, they had the drugs because he wasn't even like thinking about it either. He didn't even know he was it called like suspended strain, and he said that he was unconsciously what's it called sending strains so his hair turned black and shit like that. I can send you this games if you want to real quick.
Just in the scams.
How do you get this D tier out of VC, bro?
She's so dumbass.
Yeah, what's my son talking to me like this? You booty cheeking nigga.
I'm not
Good
gonna
luck.
lie, bro. I kind of want to go see what fucking if. Oh, they're not even debating no more. Never mind. I kind of want to see what's going on in the debate too, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, Royal, just concede, bro. Like, it's not that big deal, though, bro. Come on.
Yeah, bro. Nigga, I've already pressed like 12 arguments, bro. This is just boring. There's nothing wrong with it, bro.
We can just finish this later. I don't really care.
I don't want to finish later though, because the debate is boring as fuck.
That
I'm
is
just pressing every point made. It's just boring. Like nigga.
It's
I'm
pretty
gonna be
bad.
honest, bro. You're not ever gonna prove that iguro is actually above kokushibo, bro. Like that's just outlandish. That nigga doesn't.
bro. That nigga Iguro scales to Muzan and like base form like the beginning of the fight,
Oh
bro.
my god,
That
so
nigga
Oh
is
my
strong as
God.
hell.
stupid. Royal, how does he scale to Muzan in base form when 7 people are losing to him, including him? Like, how do you scale to someone you're jumping and then losing? That doesn't make sense.
Oh, because it's called Iguro, base Iguro. He got poisoned. He got hit once, and that made him
How
weaker
do you get
throughout the
hit
fight.
once? How do you even
Oh,
get hit once when you're jumping someone with 7 people?
You know,
That
you
doesn't
know,
even
so even
happen.
because he
crazier
has
though.
web signal, Phoenix.
You know,
That
so
doesn't
crazier
fucking
though.
matter. Like what?
Yeah, he sucks. Like, oh my god.
Okay, if they
You know
both
what?
hit each other, what does that mean, Single Phoenix?
Yeah,
Iguro
how are you
attacked
getting?
Muzan too.
Yeah, you're admitting he gets hit while jumping someone with 7 people. That's not convincing to your character.
No,
buddy.
with 2 people. What?
Yo,
2
be for real.
people?
Be for real. Be for real. Look, be for real, Royal. Be
That's
All right.
for real.
That man was
It
getting jumped
took
by the whole corpse.
it took 4 people to jump kokushibo. It took 7 people to jump Muzan. One of them is closer to Muzan, bro. Like, come on. Like, be for real. Be for real, bro.
That's such autistic reasoning. They could just have
That's
more
not.
people jumping him because Muzan
You're
is
not
stronger.
proving this shit, bro.
Obviously, my point is that Kokoshibo's a lot closer to Muzan because they both get jumped, but like obviously one has more people jumping them.
Who's making this argument right now? Is that Ghetto Jin?
Yeah, it's Ghetto Jin, bro.
Yes, I can tell it was because you stopped talking as soon as I said it. Ghetto Jin, you suck.
Bro, you're just dick eating. What the fuck?
That's
God
some
damn.
booty,
Why,
nigga.
bro?
Bro, Royal, do you want
Those
to
is
concede,
already
bro?
on my dick.
But
like
you know, Single, I found a recording of
I'd
Ghetto Jin
rather
debating 4 years ago. He's still a C tier for debating for 4 years, bro.
What'd you
Bro, you're
say?
definitely on dick now,
I'd
bro.
rather
Good
just
God.
out the drug
Oh my
because if
god.
I win this
Oh, we're
drug
gonna
shit,
keep
I
bringing up
think
more points that I gotta press. All right, go ahead.
what's it called? We could just agree like whoever wins his drug point wins the debate because what's it called? If he's not drugged in the beginning of the fight and Iguro scales to him, that means Iguro scales to Muzan. And if he doesn't, then that means Iguro doesn't scale to
No,
Muzan.
I still don't think he scales and moves on based upon what I argued earlier with Gilmay and the whole. Well, he has to get extra. He has to get an advantage from having teamwork and diverting Muzan's attention. So I don't even think it would be true even if he wasn't drugged earlier, that nigga just has feats on moves on now. I think that all I would do is
But
help prove part of your scaling, but not the full thing yet.
Yeah, that's
Quit.
kind of true.
Basically, if Muzan's not drugged at that point, before base Iguro, when he was fighting him with Gyu and Mitsuri, he was able to like in his base form, like he was able to consistently react. So that'd mean a marked Iguro would
Wait,
outscale
you think
average.
you think Nakamisa's Muzan?
Do I think Knocking Man skills Muzan? No.
All right, that's all I'm gonna say then. That's all needed. All right.
You don't need to say nothing else. A D tier.
Basically, Quintz, if base Igro scales to a non-drug Muzan, that would mean a marked See the World Igro, which gets both of them
See,
without
nigga,
scale.
I knew he took the fucking drug, bro. I'm not dumb, bro. I knew this shit. Like, nigga, he literally said it. He said, "Oh yeah, well, how long ago did she give me this drug?" Like, this nigga already knew, bro. I knew I wasn't bugging, bro.
He knew Tamayo did a human shit. Like, he ate Tamayo, but he would know if he's getting weaker. He only realizes he's weaker after a fight in 30 minutes. So if you're saying it's like
Girl.
it's that time
Yeah.
he's getting
Wow.
Okay, so his body was passively diverting strength to fight the aging, so he didn't notice. That's cool. That doesn't mean that he still wasn't aging, and he still wasn't getting weaker. All he knows now is that all he realizes now is that he was passively just diverting his strength to fight the aging. So it wasn't as noticeable to him, right? But that doesn't mean that my argument is false and that he doesn't get weaker. So.
All right. So basically, what you would that the way the argument would work is if this drug, like in like what's it called, in 30 minutes, where also the last guy said doesn't matter. That's for drug. So like basically, the way this work is if like Muzan in those 2 hours and 30 minutes having the exact same effect where he was still getting as weakened as he is during the fight, and that still wouldn't work
Bro,
because
you're glitching out. You gotta repeat, bro. You're glitching out too much.
for the passively shit, I don't think that really matters. Like, sure, but what's it called? He could be diverting a certain amount of strength to aging, but when it's not a lot of years that he's aged, like let's say like 1,000 years, he's not diverting a lot of strength to that. So what I'm saying is like when he's like diverted, it like the effect becomes significant when it actually a really large number. Like when he aged 1,000 years, that's when it becomes significant. That's what I'm saying. What I'm arguing
Bro, I only
is
heard
not
half of it because this nigga was glitching out pretty much the entire time. So my response to that is that basically he has multiple niggas jumping him, so he has to divert all of his attention between these people, and he's fighting the aging passively with his strength by diverting his strength to fight the aging. He is still getting weaker. So I'm saying this in a combative sense. When regardless of whether the drug has some like super significant effect alone doesn't matter. Even if it has some type of minor effect, the fact that he has all these people trying to jump him and divert his attention adds on to that minor effect from the drug. So I'm just arguing that based on that alone, he just got slower. So if he's able to overpower them at one point, which is previously, by the way, and he's aging 50 years every minute, and he's fighting against that aging, he's still getting weaker though. Then at one point in time, later on, it makes sense for him not to be able to overwhelm them with his whips anymore. So
right. So
yeah, that's just the argument. I think we're gonna get circular in a minute, so we can just end the debate there.
we
I
can
don't want to get.
conclude it because after like 2 points, we should be able to conclude. So basically, for the part where you were talking, what's it called, fighting shit. Muzan doesn't fucking fight people. I think if he's actually training and fighting people like who are able to keep up with him, that would obviously just make him stronger. Because like we know how training works in Demon Slayer, where if you fight someone who's actually strong, you can like get stronger. So obviously a Muzan who doesn't
Wait, hold
really
on.
like fight
Pause.
people.
Pause. Why does that? Wait, hold on. When they reference that, why does that apply to demons? I thought demons get stronger due to eating, or just like I mean, actually no, you're right because Akaza apparently got stronger by training, even though he really didn't. But
What I'm saying,
whatever.
Mu-
It's not as significant as it is for
When
demons.
I
It is
think,
for demons. So
well, hold on. Not to help anyone's point. When Akaza says that, I think that's just referring to his technique, not his
his
not his physical
technique.
stats.
Okay, yeah. So my whole thing is just that I don't even think that amp works for demons because nigga, if this nigga causes so-called training to get strong and he's getting stronger, but when he goes against a weaker opponent, when he doesn't have this type of like when he doesn't have that type of advantage, he's getting fucked up by it. I don't think that that training shit, how it works in Demon Slayer applies to demons. It only applies to the Slayers. It's
Yeah, I'm
pretty
like
consistent.
basically talking about like what's it called? What's it called like experience wise, where you obviously know Muzan. The only opponent he actually fought who was able to do shit versus him is Yurichi, right? Before this fight, right? Are you
Mm-hmm.
fine with that? All right.
Yeah,
So
he was one. He's going 1-on-1. He's actually doing shit, unlike the Hashira. But yeah,
like Yurichi's the only opponent who moves on like before this fight, who he was like not able to completely like, overwhelm. So basically, since in this fight, the Hashira can somewhat keep up with him and like they can react and shit. He's gonna actually get more combat ability and skill because he's actually fighting like people, like in like the same sense, like sparring. Because like
okay.
demons,
So
even
I know
people,
the argument now, but Royal, there's multiple problems with this argument, and there's multiple flaws with it. One, if he's getting weaker, even if he's getting combat experience, he wouldn't be able to uphold or actually utilize that combat experience that he's getting because it's basically neutralizing, right? So that's a positive effect that he gets from doing this fighting thing, but the negatives overweight that positive. So even if he's getting combat experience, it's not going to be efficiently utilized, right? So secondly, even if we were to accept that in experience that he gets stronger, it wouldn't even work because then it wouldn't work at all because he's getting weakened the entire time.
yeah, for weaker, you're referring to the drug, right?
I'm referring to the drug and all him aging and shit, all that.
All right, so if you're referring to aging and shit like that, and like the drug and all that, but I'll go back to the shit where you're talking about like diverted, which is why he didn't notice. So you know how the drug is active for 3 hours, like minimum, right? Like he ate Tamayo like what's it called 5 hours ago. So even if you want to assume that, it's like you could even say 5 hours, but he says uh it would be active for over 3 hours, right? You're fine with that?
Sure, I don't think that matters.
Okay, so in 30 minutes, compared to like 3 hours, that's not a lot, right? Like that's like a sixth of it, I think. Hold up.
What?
Like as compared to like 3 hours, that's like nothing, right? Like it's not a
Okay.
lot, right? Okay, so you're saying that the reason he didn't notice is because he's like fighting multiple people, but we know he's been drugged for so long. So we see that obviously, if the drugs effect is like significant, like it's like constant, then that would mean Muzan should have noticed while he was still like recovering and shit, like because he was drugged for 2 hours and 30 minutes at least before. So this would mean that in 2 hours and 30 minutes, he didn't even notice there was something wrong with him and he didn't notice he was getting weaker at all. So in this 2 hours and 30 minutes, he didn't
Yeah,
notice
so
shit and happened.
during the time frame where he fights, or not fights, when he's not fighting, I think that obviously it wouldn't be as noticeable because one, he's not getting pressured in any situation. Two, he has the fact that his body's already passively fighting against the aging. So, and three, if
got a
during
fat
that
ass.
2 hours and 30 minutes, if we were to gauge, how much he would have aged, it wouldn't be too significant to a point to which it would affect him in combat, most likely. But even then, I wouldn't care about that because if he's in a fight and he's getting pressured by multiple people, I'm saying that adds on to the effects that the drug has. So I'm saying that as he's getting progressively weaker, he's also getting overwhelmed by the fact that there's multiple people fighting him at once. So I'm saying
I'm
that these
gonna.
two variables would basically make the argument that regardless of whether or not there's a 30-minute time frame when they fight, or regardless if the drug has been in for 2 hours or not, the fact that he has all these people fighting him helps to it helps burn him with the drug as well. So that's just the argument. We're finna
Move
go
Okay,
along,
circular,
so
ghetto
so
Jin with some dick.
we can just end the debate here because I don't want to repeat arguments again. This is like the second. This
I
is like
don't
my
really
third
want
time
to
repeating it.
made a what's called he made an argument there. So basically, with the what's it called with the shit about fighting like slayers making him weaker, Muzan has instant regeneration to the point where it's even stated hitting him like actually hitting him and like doing damage to him, it does nothing. I don't
Yeah,
think like
that would
I should,
apply to Muzan that's not getting progressively weaker.
yeah, that's I'm just talking about without the aging, just in with the like him getting pressured by multiple slayers. The thing is that's not gonna hit because he has regeneration. And
Yeah, but
also,
that doesn't okay. If you're talking external to the drug, then I don't care because I'm obviously referencing the drug how you get progressively weaker. Why do I care about anything that would happen external to the drug? Because the only time they fight is when he's on the drug. If they fought external to the drug, sure, that would make sense, but they don't. So I don't care about that. The argument has no relevancy to the actual point. The actual
all right.
point is
So
just that these slayers help burden him with the drug as he's getting progressively weaker. That's all it is. His regen
all right.
doesn't work as well. He's just not the same as he would normally be, which is why I'm saying the argument that I'm saying.
All right, so in that case, I'll just address the drug part because if I refute the drug actually if like doing any significant effect at that point, for the other shit. So basically, uh, well, I'm back to like the 2 hours and 30 minutes shit. You're saying, what's it called? What did you say about why that wouldn't like, what's it called? Why he wouldn't notice it in 2 hours and 30 minutes
Okay.
if the
The reason
fact
why
is
I
like
think that
constant?
you wouldn't notice it 2 hours 30 minutes in is because he's not getting pressured. Two, his body's already what's it called? Two, his body's already passively fighting against the aging, right? So then I said three is that I don't think that I don't think during that time frame there just wasn't any like way to know that there's like a combative difference between that 2 hour time frame, right? So those are the three reasons why I said that he just doesn't notice. So then when he gets into combat, he can notice a combative difference during that fight, right? And then he can realize later on as time goes on and the drug gets more significant and he can he's getting pinned down by niggas who are like extremely weak. Then he's like, okay, yeah, so I have been getting weaker, and that's what the calculating this and that, and that's when he's trying to just survive. So that was my whole thing on that.
All
What
right,
is
so Quince. First off, would you notice if like your arm was like broken, like extremely weak? Like if you like, would you notice if you felt like extremely weak? Would you know?
I felt extremely weak. Uh, in most scenarios I could, but I'm extremely weak, which means that I'm basically in one of my weakest states ever. So yeah,
All right, so you know demons have supernatural where they could wrong with their right?
they have supernatural what?
Like we see demons have like where they could tell what's wrong with their bodies, right?
Yeah, can you show that?
But I'll have to find some scans in the Doma fight because I know Doma talks about it. I think
The
Clicksu
only thing I
like
ever heard Doma talk about was how he's able to break down the poison. And I never heard him say anything along the lines of he could just know what's wrong with his body in this sense. Never heard of
Clicksu
that shit.
of that because I know what it. I would just have. I don't have this shit saved. Do you have a Clicksu? Because I know you have like all the scans.
Yeah, nigga Click is a nerd. Nigga has literally everything.
Do you have the scan of like what's it called of demons
Wait,
knowing what's wrong with their
don't say
bodies?
that. That's me. Don't say that. That's not nice. Don't say that. Anyways, or what do you want?
A scan of demons knowing what's wrong with their bodies, like they could figure out what's wrong with their bodies. Like they have
Oh,
supernatural ability for that.
I mean, I have a skin of, I'm saying, blood demon recipe, but I'm not sure about the first part.
I have to find it though, cause like
Yeah, I
I
just
don't
don't
have.
think it exists. I think I think you're just ratting now because this nigga just can't press the point.
I know it exists. I just have to find it real quick, cause I remember saying that shit would like think they know what's wrong with their body. Like they have like ability for that.
Yeah, if that was true, then Luzon would already know that he's been drugged. That wouldn't even make sense. Like even if it was a little difference, he would still be able to know that there's something wrong with his body. And he would still know that he got drugged. So that whole argument wouldn't even make sense at all. Like if you're gonna argue that demons have this extra sensory thing, and you're gonna be like, but then we obviously apply that to the creator of demons, right? Which is Luzon. So it's just like, okay, does he have his supernatural ability too? And we don't see it because he would notice any small or slight difference within his body.
Hold on, first let me just see if this scan exists, and then what's it called? Then we'll get into that shit.
Oh, it's the topic. The topic is fucking kokushibo versus iguro. This is bad because iguro doesn't have a link on, bro. He's just ass.
Who you taking?
I have kokushibo. Royal has iguro.
Oh my god.
We've been on this nigga's win con for like a whole hour, bro, and he just
What's
can't
this
get a
win con?
valid win con through because Eagles' feats are just terrible,
What's this win con?
huh?
What's this win con?
He was saying that Iguro can basically dodge and outpace kokushibo in his blood demon arm shit, and I disagree with that. So I wanted
Like,
him to like go in depth on it. So he just started talking about
Yeah.
all of
that's
Igro's fraudulent ass fucking teamwork ass feats. So right now we're basically trying to gauge the difference between fucking kokushibo and Muzan. And I'm saying that Muzan was just comparatively weaker, and then I'm saying that Igro's feats don't hold weight because there's 8 niggas jumping Muzan at once,
Nah,
and
it's
they're all
more
trying
than
to get
8.
opportunity to hit that nigga.
It's more than 8. It's around that fucking 200.
Bro, nigga, at this
All right.
point, I
What's
don't
it
even
called?
care how much it is because nigga, anything more than 3 still holds weight because that was as much as that fought Coco.
All right. So
It just makes
Quince,
it worse. It just
drop
makes it worse for him.
Quince. I'll just drop the supernatural shit because I can't find the scan for that, and I don't think it really matters. As I was saying, basically, like if it takes 30 minutes for Muzan to notice what's wrong with his body and for him to actually see he's massively weakened, in 2 hours and 30 minutes, how is he gonna not notice his body's massively weak?
I
Because like,
already went over this,
hold on,
bro.
hold up. In 30 minutes, Muzan went from overpowering all the Hashira, like really badly, to getting overwhelmed by all of them, not being able to do shit to them in 30 minutes. So in what's it called 2 hours and 30 minutes, this effect is gonna be a lot worse. Like it's gonna be more than triple. Because like if we say it's a constant effect where like the more aging he gets, the weaker he gets, he's gonna get massively weakened at that point. Like he would definitely notice. Because if he notices, like if he goes from like extremely like weak to even extremely more weak, then obviously in 2 hours and 30 minutes where the effect can go in and affect them way more, he's gonna be a lot weaker.
Okay,
So in two
so
hours and 30 minutes, he
I
should.
already addressed this. I don't know if I like didn't track it, but what my response was to this is just that during that 2 hour and 30 minute time frame, we have the fact that he's passively fighting against the aging. He's not being overly pressured by anybody, and he's pretty much just chilling. Some people just don't have like any way of knowing whether or not they can, if they're feeling a drug or not. It's happened multiple times before. There'll be people who take things like edibles and don't feel it until like an hour or something later. So first we gotta take into effect that he took the drug 2 hours and 30 minutes ago, but it possibly didn't kick in until later. Then we gotta get into the fact that once it kicks in, we notice it because when he's getting jumped, he's not performing at how he should be or how he's hyped up to perform, right? So I'm saying that in this 30 minutes, the reason why we say that there's some that he knows during that 30 minutes is because he's getting pressured. He has like 12 people jumping him, and he's realizing that these people are weakened too, yet they're still able to keep up with me, and I should be way faster than them, logically speaking. So yeah, it makes sense that during that 2 hour and 30 minute time frame, one, it didn't kick in instantly. Two, his body was already fighting against it, and three, he was in pressure, so he had no reason to actually come to his senses to understand that, oh yeah, I'm drugged and this is affecting me physically. He doesn't have no way of knowing that because his body's fighting against it to make it seem like he's normal.
Alright, so there was one thing I like disagree with the 2 hours 30 minute shit. He didn't take the drug 2 hours and 30 minutes, like 3 hours ago. He took the drug
Oh
5
yeah,
hours.
you're right. You're right. He did 5 hours going to kick. Yeah, you're right. My fault.
Yeah.
Just drop that whole part out and just rest of the argument.
All right.
We'll go
So
through.
the fighting shit. First off, I
Hmm?
like what I'm saying is my entire argument is the significant effect happens when all the Hashira start jumping him and he gets overwhelmed by them. That's what I'm saying. The significant effect starts. I'm saying before that, like base Obanai and Mitsuri fight moves on at that point. I'm saying the drug is not really doing shit at that point because he's not struggling. He's not really struggling. We see like how the drug work, like where the significant effect comes after. Like that's my entire point. Like what I'm saying is we see when the significant effect occurs and we see when he notices it. So my entire point is when he notices that there's a significant effect, that's when we can infer that the drug actually started like kicking
Okay.
in and shit.
Yeah, I understand that's been your argument for majority of the time. problem is, in specific with that argument, is just that I think that he's majority. He was already majorly.
Your thing cut out. What'd you say?
That he was.
Questions today. Go get in the shower,
I'm
wash
sorry,
up.
cut out like really badly. I have no idea what you said.
Wash my face. Have to clean my room. Have to let my dog out.
After this point, I'm gonna just conclude though, because after this, I'm just gonna conclude because I think we're going circular at this point. Like we're just saying the same shit.
I said that like 10 minutes ago, bro.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Actually,
Because your voice was cutting out.
We have to repeat the whole thing. I'll just give a conclusion and then we can.
You want to conclude right now? Sure.
Yeah, we can just conclude right now because I think that already responded to that.
All right.
Okay,
You can
so
go
my
first.
conclusion really is just that.
Yeah, your shit cut out. We can't hear you.
In this scenario, beat up the Hashra and any other Demon Corps members who were there to.
Hold up. You're gonna have to repeat it because your shit was like cutting out badly. Like we have no idea what you said.
All right, I'm gonna restart my conclusion. So I'm gonna concise it. So my point is just that Muzan notices he's weakened because he got pressured and he was getting jumped by multiple people and divert his attention. So he had no way of actually knowing previously that he was really drugged because his body's passively fighting against it. So the progression is kind of like slowed. And we have the fact that his body would try to make it seem like it's a drug. And it's like, just like how cancer kills your body, yet you're not alerted about it because your immune system fights it off. It's kind of like one of those scenarios where his body's fighting off this drug, so it doesn't look like there's no like significant effects showing yet, but it's still affecting him, right? So we noted. So he starts to notice during the fight that he's being pressed by the Hashira, and he does overwhelm him at one point. But my argument for that is just that during that scenario, he's able to compensate his lack of physicality for his arsenal, and seeming that whips are much less in mass and they're faster than most weapons and shit. So when you hit somebody with a whip, the whip goes faster than how a human can punch. So yeah, you kind of get the gist of that. I'm saying he compensates that for his physicality, so he overwhelms them. But then when he tries to later, given the drug and given the circumstances of him getting attacked by multiple people, it slows down. He's not able to actually like perform the same how he was previously. I think that's all I really need to cover. The recording covers pretty much any other points that I would miss. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave you see. He can give his conclusion and he can send a wrap off.
I'm just gonna ignore I'll make my conclusion now. I'm gonna ignore all the shit before and just address the drug shit because all that is already in the recording. Basically, we know Muzan is like the I already proved that this fight like between the Hashira and Muzan was 30 minutes. And what he's basically arguing is like in this time Muzan got like where he was overwhelming them to getting overwhelmed by them. So what I argue was basically we know that in 2 hours and 30 minutes he didn't notice any effect, but in 30 minutes he does notice like a major effect. Even if you want to like even when he said like he was fighting Hashira, we know like what's it called? In 30 minutes he still like he was overwhelming them and like out like I was called like outscaling them basically. But in this time frame, he got like massive weakened by this drug. Even though we know in 2 hours and 30 minutes where he's much like what's it called, like where the thing actually kicks in a lot more, like what's it called? And that would do a lot more damage because if it did this much damage to the point where he's significantly weakened and he can't even finish off 13th form Tanjiro, in 2 hours and 30 minutes, he's gonna be much, much, much weaker. So basically, what I'm saying is, and I'm saying like there would be like a time where this drug actually kicks in and affects Muzan and like is able to get effect, and then we see when this happens where he fights 13th form Tanjiro, this is where the drug actually kicks in and actually starts doing shit to him because like it's stated, it's shown, and like we could just infer this based upon the fact that before he wasn't really like he was overwhelming them, and then he just got overwhelmed by them, and like that's basically it. So, and then if I prove this, then Obanai scales to a non-drug Muzan, so that would get him above Kokushibo. So yeah,
D tier.
Nick, you're like a broken record. D tier.
Sure, D tier.